Hello everyone, welcome to IMSC 685 MIS Logistic Regression lecture number 3. So after we're done with some exploratory data analysis, the next step what we plan on doing is clean up the data so it can be fit into our logistic regression model. First, our objective is we want to fill in missing age data. We know we have about 20% of the passenger didn't have the age data, so we don't want to drop 20% of the passenger, so it's probably too much. So what we can do is we're going to using average age for the customer filled into those customer without the age information. But we can do a little bit smarter, and the way and what we illustrated right here, what we're trying to do is we're going to fill in the average age for each passenger in the same class. We'll call it the class. So of the rigging. So let's do some more of exploratory analysis first. So first we're going to do a figure. I'm going to figure size. Let's do about a little bit bigger so we can see. Good. Okay. And then we're going to plot using a box plot to figure it out. So X will be equals to the P classes. Okay, and Y equals to age, and then data equals to trend. I'm going to using a palette equals to, let's do winter, a little bit nicer. Okay, fixing a couple typo and get a box chart. We see for the first class passenger as well, 30 some, the average is about 30 some years old, yeah, in that case, and about 37-ish. And for the class 2 passenger is slightly younger, it's about 29, 28. And for the third class passenger is, although it's not significantly lower, it's about another couple years younger than the first two classes. So that's what we're going to do, and what we're trying to do is fill in the average for each class of a passenger. And so we're going to define a function called impute function, impute age function, and getting columns in, which is the age column. We're going to do that. And what we do is age equals to probably column first column 0, okay, and then P class equals to the columns of second part, okay, and that's it. And then we see if, okay, P class equals to 1, what we do return maybe 37, okay, do else if else if P class equals to 2, I'm going to return probably 29 or 27. Okay, and then we're going to do else, which is the third class passenger. We're going to return probably 24. Okay, and so here what we need to do is if the passenger P of is null, I only wanted dealing with the one is null on age, and we do the following. So make sure that all the indentations are correct. And also now we're going to go back to this, else if the age has its original information, then we just return the age itself. That's all there is to it. Okay, so we define this particular function. Then now we can do the age, fill in our training data set of age. Okay, should be equals to the training data set of age, and P class. These are the two columns going to feed into that function using apply. Impute. So we already have that. Impute age. But I'm going to apply to access E2 to 1, which means column, the entire column. So let's see a little bit. Okay. Just need to put this into a list. Okay, after we're done with that, and we can check the map again. So I'm just going to go up and copy the things we have. The map. See what happened. So now you see all the information of age got filled in. There's no null value. However, this cabinet we still have many of the missing data, and we can not really do too much about it. And this column of information, if you look at it in the beginning, they're like which cabinet they are in. We don't want to deal with, and this is not a numerical data as well, so why don't we just drop them for now. So what we do is we do train, actually drop this column called cabinet. Okay, and then x is equals to 1, which means drop that column, and also in place, which means I want to actually equals to true in that case. So we drop that column. So now we take a look at the trend data set. So that column of Kevin is dropped. Okay. And now we can go ahead and take a look at our data one more time. It's pretty much just one element of portions on the implication is off. So in this case, we can just go ahead and drop the this column. So what we do is we're going to do trend drop null places. Okay, and what we do in place equals to true. Okay, now let's take a look one more time. Now all the data are filled in and without any newer data. So this is what we actually can do. The next step, what we're going to do is we're going to converting gender information. If you look at the data we have, the gender information is actually male or female. Is a string information. We can actually convert it into a numerical, either 0 or 1, and maybe we represent female by 0 and male by 1. So we can actually convert these category information into a numerical value. So let's take a look how, and also the embarkation as well. This is a character information. Can we actually represent it in a numerical category data? So this is what we're going. Okay, so let's take a look right now. Our info portion. So we're going to change some of the object or string information into numerical, either integer or floating point. So first we're going to change the gender information. Let's take a look. Let's do get dummy. Okay, it's using for trend. Actually, their gender portion. And draw first equals to true. Let's try this first and see how it goes. So you can see that actually after we just get dummies function from the Panda data frame, converting a string information into 0 and 1. So female equals to 0, is this 2 converted into these 2 columns for each one of passenger. If it is a female, and it's 1. If it's a male, then this is 0. Let's take a look of this. The first passenger, for example, is a male, so the male column equals to 1, female column equals to 0. And also the second passengers right here is a female, and then you see that the female column equals to 1 and the male column equals to 0. So actually these are the mutually exclusive data, and we need to only keep one of them. Let's keep the male information. So if 1 equals to 1, the other one definitely equals to 0. So here I'm trying to do is drop the first one, which is drop the first column, and should be just giving us 1 column. So this column will represent male indicator. If it's 1 means it's a male, and then if it's 0, then it is female, basically. That's what I'm trying to accomplish. Now also we can take a look at the embarkation portion as well. Let's take a look how's that going. And we also need to do get dummy. Okay. And what we're going to do is see the trend data set, the embarkation, embarked port, and let's take a look how is that going to go. Okay, for this, we can also see that for each one of the embark port, and they can using 0 and 1. In this case, we only need to keep 2 of them. The third one we can actually referring from there. So what do I do is, again, drop equals to true. Okay, so we drop those 2. The things what we need to do for now is we need to append these 2 columns at our data frame altogether. So we see how we're going to do that. So it's a little bit data manipulation. So first I'm going to using a panda series called 6. I'm going to copy this over. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is using an embark. I'm going to using an embark variable to represented by this result. So I'm storage those 2 results here. The purpose these 2 just for visualization. You see how I'm choosing crafting some of those, converting the string information into a categorical numerical information. Once we've done that, we can execute it. And also, I don't need those several information. For example, the name, really we cannot do too much about it. Okay, and also the ticket, and we don't need those information. Maybe we need later on, but now let's just drop those string information. And gender, I already converted into a numerical 0 and 1, also embarked. Let's just append those 2 in there, drop them first, and then we append those in the end of the beginning of the and actually end of the data frame. I'm sorry. So let's do this drop first. I'm going to drop, for example, I'm going to drop the following. Gender is going to be dropped, and then embark is going to be dropped. Okay, and also I want to drop the name and the ticket. Okay, and here is I want to drop the column, so there's x equals to 1, and then want to do this in place. All right, so we dropped them already. And the next thing what we want to do is we wanted to append or concatenate the gender information and the embark information into the end of the trend data set. So what we do is we're going to do trend concatenate, okay, and then we do, I wanted to concatenate the trend data frame with the gender, sex series, and also the embark series I just created, okay, and make sure we specify x equals to 1, which means it's column portion, and sorry, let's do this, equals to panda dataset of concatenate, okay, so here I'm going to concatenate this sex times panda series embark data frame and the end of the trend, and that storage back to the trend altogether. So let's take a look. Why don't we do 10 of them? So you see now we finish with all the columns. Okay, passenger ID, survived, P-class, age, and so on and so forth. And also, we probably noticed that the passenger ID is simply actually the index of that. Let's double check, see if we need to drop them as possible. And let's take a look. Let's do trend altogether. And you will see that actually this passenger ID is just a sequential number, almost identical to the index. Is start from 1 instead of start from 0. So therefore we can actually drop them as well. So, but I'm going to leave it in for you to become an exercise. And also now we're done with the data cleaning. All the data are numerical, and we are ready to fit into the logistic regression to figure it out. So in the next lecture period, next lecture, we're going to cover is to model this into a logistic regression, uh, logistic regression portion. I'm going to using sklearn, which is a scikit-learn library, and train the model and test the model with some prediction and using a set of test data. So let's do this in the next lecture period. So we finish our this particular lecture session.